is Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne, the pastor of the River at Tampa Bay. He, in fact, was arrested on the last Sunday of March. He was taken down to the police office in the back of a squad car from his home. He could have driven down there had he been asked, no problem. But they wanted to make a show and an example of him. And they went down, they booked him, they took his mugshot, and they put him in jail until he bonded out later that day. The first pastor in the United States of America arrested for holding worship in the church. We have a clip from Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne.
Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne here at the River Tampa Bay Church, Revival Ministries International. As you know, I was one of the first pastors to get arrested for sticking up for the Constitution and not shutting the church down. However, we closed it because of all the threats we had against the ministry of 80,000 just on the River Church Facebook alone, and then on the other social media and the phones. And so we started broadcasting from my home, and we broadcast for 8 solid weeks, and I knew that we could open the church immediately because 3 days after my arrest, everything was reversed and we could have gone back meeting with no restrictions whatsoever. But we had to protect the church now, not from the virus, but from all the threats against the ministry. So when everybody was asking me, when are you going to open? I said, I keep feeling there's something that the Lord wants us to do. And the sheriff even that had me arrested came and visited me after 35 days, and the whole thing, this amazing story of how, of course I didn't have to forgive him because I didn't hold anything against him, but he just told me, he said, when are you opening the church? I said, Sheriff, we will open the church, but at the time that I feel the Lord's prompting us. And the Lord said, get a field. We did investigate some other fields outside of our county to try to make it easier upon the Sheriff's Department, but it came down to our parking lot. And so we erected 2 acres of AstroTurf and the giant screens, 4 sets of screens, and the sound system, and we started 100 days ago. The stand's been going for 100 days. Nightly, people have been coming from all across America and even Canada. I don't even know how they got here. And it's been amazing. So we felt to make a stand against everything that the WHO was telling us not to do. Can't lay hands on the sick, we lay hands on the sick. Can't hug one another, we hug one another. Can't dedicate babies, we dedicate babies. Can't blow trumpet, we blow trumpets. Can't baptize in water, we baptize in water. All of the stuff that we're not supposed to do. Can't sing, we sing. And so, because the WHO does not dictate what we do. The Word of God dictates what we do. Don't forsake the gathering of yourselves together, even much more when you see the day approaching, and obey what the Lord said do. Lay hands on the sick. That's what he told us to do. I can't compromise that. We can't compromise that. And so we've been doing that for 100 days. It's been amazing to see what God is doing. And we're going to continue this until our brothers and sisters in California and other states and other countries can open up and worship like we are. Somebody said, you think you'll keep it going indefinitely? We're going to keep it going until everything opens up.
Tom, this is a great example of John chapter 1, verses 4 and 5, where it's speaking of Jesus. It says that the light came into the world, the light was life, and brought light into the world, and the darkness could not overcome it. This is a story of the church prevailing. The gates of hell will not prevail against the church. This pastor spent time for part of a day in jail for holding a church service on Sunday, which was actually approved by the same sheriff that arrested him the previous Thursday. But since that happened, as a result of that outrageous event, the governor of Florida removed all the restrictions on churches on April the 1st, day and a half after all this happened, because of the outrageous action that took place. All the churches from April 1 on, no restrictions. In addition, the sheriff later called him, the same person that arrested him, made a public spectacle, and wanted to reconcile. Well, there was nothing to reconcile on Pastor Rodney's part because he had no grudge against him, but they had a 3-hour meeting. The sheriff has now been coming to some of these outdoor sessions, and he's actually come to church where he was publicly forgiven in front of the whole congregation. And also, as a result of this, on Pentecost, the last Sunday in May, Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne started this stand outside, as he described, and it's been going on 100 consecutive days, and it will continue to go on, the pastor says, until the Lord tells him to stop. This is an amazing situation because it's not only happening there in Tampa, but that stand that's going on every night, that revival, as you saw, is also catching fire around the country as well. The gates of hell will not prevail. And so this is why the church is so essential and why it needs to meet together to help hurting people.